Hey guys, Glenn here. I know I usually don't make videos like this on my YouTube channel, and that my channel is mainly meant for music. But this being my first flagship phone, or super phone for that matter, I really wanted to make this video and upload it. So I'm just gonna keep this video very short. I'm gonna have a very short unboxing video because what I noticed is that in most review channels, they actually had the media unit that was unboxed and not the retail unit that the normal customers would get. So I've made a very short unboxing video of the retail unit that I purchased from MIUI website, and also I'll be posting a few samples of pictures that I clicked on the first day itself. Main reason being, many people were asking, is it actually worth spending 70,000 on an MI phone, because this is the costliest MI phone up to date. So just wanted to give some samples of the pictures that I clicked on the MI phone. So here goes.
So since the phone launched back in April in India, but production didn't start, so the starting units that are being shipped by MI are actually made in China and not made in India. So the one that I received as well is manufactured in China. It's a standard 12 GB RAM plus 256 GB ROM model. And yep, here we open. You get a SIM ejector tray and the USB to 3.5 converter. You get a clear case, so it was actually really strong, so that's good. Then this is the actual phone, fully packed up. And then they also gave you a 55-watt charger, even though the phone supports 67 watts, but I'll be talking about that later. The phone actually feels really solid in your hand and maybe a bit heavier, but you kind of get used to it, unlike few reviewers who said that the weight balance, you don't feel it. I tried smudging the back, but since it's a ceramic back, you don't get the smudges of your fingerprint, so that's a really good thing. And yep, that's good. So the first picture, this is clicked using the primary camera. You can see the green, and when you use the ultra wide camera, you can see that it saturates a bit more, which I kind of like. And this is the periscope camera. For some reason it gets washed out, probably because it was too sunny and around 1 PM when I clicked it. Here's again the primary camera, and I'll take it once again with the ultra wide. You can see how it saturates the pic more than the primary camera. And here's again with the primary, but since there was heavy sunlight, it got washed. Here's the ultra wide angle again, and this is the primary camera. And you can see next being the 5x, the periscope camera. So you can see that it's really clear. And this is again with the same 5x telescopic lens. This is the primary camera, and this is the ultra wide angle again. So you can see that colors come really good. This is the ultra wide. So in this picture, I'm basically going to show how the cameras vary. This is the primary camera. Now I'll be using 5x, the third camera. And I'll just zoom in a bit more to around 30x to see how long we can retain clarity. This is around 60x, and finally this is 120x, which the phone actually supports. Yep, this is 120x. I know you'll never need to use 120x, but yeah, you can do that on the phone, so that's good. This is again ultra wide camera. You can see how the clouds look really good. This is the primary camera, and this is the 5x lens. Now going to around 20 or 30x, and finally I'll be showing how 120x looks like, which you'll ultimately never need to use, but you can. And back to the primary camera, and now I'll show you ultra wide, which oversaturates it like earlier. And this is the 5x lens. This is a picture that I clicked from a moving metro just to see how it looks, and I feel it's pretty good. This is clicked using the primary camera, and this is using the ultra wide lens. So yeah, this is again using the ultra wide lens. This is using the primary camera, and finally using the 5x zoom lens. And just to see how the clouds also look like, this is again the primary, this is the ultra wide, and now with the 5x lens, zoom lens. And just to see how the night pictures look like, this is again using primary. I clicked this around 1 AM, so since I have a street light, it actually had good light. This is using the ultra wide lens. You can see that it's not that clear, but really good. This is using the 5x lens. You can see the detail that you get. so it's still pretty good for a night shot. This is a macro picture that I tried clicking using the primary lens. So I would say that it comes really good macro pictures as well. As you can see, the phone has a 20 megapixel front camera. This is what I clicked using that. But when I take the same using the primary camera on the rear, you can see that saturation difference. This is using the ultra wide lens, so that's a pretty good feature to have. This is front camera shot taken at night. You can see the saturation. This is in the day. The main difference is, look at how much more detail do I get when I use the ultra wide lens. I get the entire room, so that's the main reason why I included that. Now coming to the videos that I've shot using this camera, just to give you an idea of the stabilization and the voice clarity of it. Right now I'm using the ultra wide lens to see how good is the stabilization when walking. Now using the primary lens, which is 1x zoom. Still, this is just to see how good is the stabilization when using the front camera and walking. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm holding it in landscape mode, which is why it might feel a bit awkward, but yeah, it's pretty good, I would say. Okay, I'm just holding it the normal way. You can see I'm walking pretty fast. Yeah, still really stable when I hold it in portrait mode as well.
Why I really like MIUI. The main reason being, I've been using MIUI since my first Android phone, and that was the Redmi Note 3 Pro, which was first gone via flash sale 4 or 5 years back. My second phone has been the Redmi Note 5 Pro, and now the Mi 11 Ultra. Now the thing is, I have actually used the UI of OnePlus, Samsung and all that, but for some reason I still like the MIUI, mainly because of all the features that you get preloaded in the UI itself. You don't have to install any third-party apps, like everything comes pre-built. Even something as basic as having a firewall that restricts which apps can use your mobile data if you are on data crunch for some matter. So something like that. So one good feature that I would say which I like in this phone, apart from all the great flagship features, the camera and all that stuff, is they've added the backed up feature, which I think was only there in iOS earlier. So you can actually configure what your phone does when you tap the back of your phone. So I've configured it to turn on torch, so I just tap the back and the torch turns on. I just have to tap it again and it turns off. Or if I do a triple tap, I've configured it to make the phone silent, and it says it's in silent mode, and I do the same thing and it's back to general. So something as basic as that, I really love how MI brings in all these features. And another thing is, my friend had actually mentioned this point to me. So he's like, MI is a company which tries to bring in every feature, even for their basic budget phone. So even a phone that costs 18,000, 20,000 or something like that, they ensure that they bring in every good feature that they can think of in that budget. And obviously when you have a flagship phone worth 70k, obviously they'll try to bring in every single feature that they can think of. So that's, I would say, it's a really good phone. And I'm actually really happy that I did not buy the Samsung S21 Ultra or the OnePlus 9 Pro, and this is actually worth it and much more, because it gives you much more than what I could do. One point being, these phones, it's a 5G phone, but the other phones that came up, like even the OnePlus 9 Pro, I think gives only 2 bands, whereas this one gives you 13 bands of 5G. So whenever 5G comes in India, this will definitely support it, because it supports 13 bands. And another point which people ask me to also check is, the phone supports 67 watts wireless and wired charging, but the charger that they give you in box is a 55 watt charger. So just wanted to bring that point up as well. Few of you had a doubt if this phone has always on display, and yes, it does have always on display since it has MIUI. So you can see that have my logo on there, and the fingerprint is really sensitive. And for few of you ask if the back, the LED display is actually helpful. Trust me, it really is, since the front camera that you have over here is just a 20 megapixel front camera. But if you want to shoot something more clear, or in my use case mainly, if I have a lot of people, or if I want to cover a big background, it really helps that I can use my 48 MP ultra wide camera. So all I can do is, as of now it says the display is off, so I can just turn on the rear display and the rear display turns on, and now I can actually use my ultra wide angle to shoot a selfie. So I'm telling you that that's actually helpful. I get to see, wow, I can see my entire room in this small frame, and trust me, that's pretty helpful. Let me just take a picture.
So this pic was taken using the ultra wide lens on the rear. I'll take one more using the primary lens on the rear, and that's this one. So you can see how helpful that small display on the rear of the phone is.
So yeah, that brings me to the end of my video. I know I am not as experienced as many of the reviewers that you would have there, which is the main reason why I wanted to keep this video short, because the main technical aspects have already been brought up or mentioned in other review channels, and the whole idea of me basically making this was to show my experience using a flagship phone from MI and the pictures that I've clicked. So hope you liked it. Take care guys, bye.